The original ruling said parents have no constitutional right to homeschool, and only credentialed teachers can legally homeschool in California. Lawyer Brad Dacus was involved in the case.
This is such a sweeping decision. It basically blackballs homeschooling in any format, any kind of configuration where parents are not credentialed teachers.
But the court now says it will take up the case again this month.
Inside this building is the court where the controversial ruling came from. Now, it's hard to know why the judges have decided to re-examine it, but it could have something to do with the angry reaction the ruling received.
Governor Schwarzenegger blasted it, saying this outrageous ruling must be overturned by the courts. The head of the public school system put out a letter assuring parents policy will not change in any way as a result of this ruling. Pro-family activist Randy Thomason thinks the judges have to take up the case again because they got it so wrong the first time.
The state law doesn't say the teacher must have a credential in a private school. The state law nowhere says that your private school cannot be in your own house.
And he says the record shows those with teacher certificates aren't necessarily the best teachers.
Only the public schools require a certificate, and they're doing the worst for the children.
But until the court rehears the case, the ruling has put somewhat of a fright into many homeschoolers. We crossed paths with some at a Sonoma County park as their kids played. This mom says she wasn't worried until others started to ask her things like,
"Are you going to go to jail?"
I'm not scared. Should I be?
The Moreno family started homeschooling 8 years ago. They expect the harsh ruling to be overturned, but if it isn't, as Christians, they're prepared for the worst.
We expect to be persecuted at some point.
Others would flee.
Oh, I would leave in a heartbeat. I would not be living in California.
We'll just leave the state if worse comes to worse.
But no matter what, the Morenos won't quit homeschooling.
We would basically trust in the Lord that He would protect us.
The Morenos, parents and children, have actually lobbied their lawmakers at the Capitol in Sacramento over homeschooling rights.
Because these freedoms are a gift, and they're a gift from God, so that's why we're trying to protect them also.
Their son plans to make it his life's cause.
I want to become a lawyer and be able to advocate for the rights of homeschoolers.
Linda Freeman homeschools her oldest daughter in Marin County. She thinks the court was just seeing how much it could get away with.
It's a toe dip. Let's see if this will stand.
She says many Californians believe their school districts lose funding because the 166,000 homeschooled students aren't in those district schools. But most homeschoolers see it a whole different way.
We pay tax dollars towards the schools, towards education, but we don't use it. And they don't give us anything as homeschoolers.
In fact, Dacus says this is exactly the wrong moment for cash-strapped California to try to move homeschool kids back into the public schools, because each would cost the state around $8,000.
So we're looking at roughly about $2 billion of additional cost to taxpayers for these children to be forced back into public schools at a time when the California budget is already billions in the red.
No matter what this court decides, some say parents need to, indeed must, keep their kids out of the California public schools. Why?
A new law about how gays and others must be portrayed in public schools.
California's government school system is now functionally requiring that all children be sexually indoctrinated with the positive portrayal of homosexual, bisexual, and transsexual behavior.
Thomason showed us some of the books California grade school children might well run into now in the public schools.
Heather Has Two Mommies. This is a classic about lesbianism. Daddy's Roommate. This promotes homosexuality to children. And of course, the most famous of all, Daddy's Wedding, indoctrinating little children to support homosexual marriage as good and natural, and maybe even for them.
Freeman and others believe they found a middle path. CAVA, the California Virtual Academy, a charter school that mostly works with homeschoolers via computer, but still gives the parents much latitude when it comes to content.
If there are lessons that don't meet the criteria that the family has in their own values, then those lessons can be substituted with something else.
Every student has a CAVA teacher assigned to help them, covering the demand for a credentialed teacher. And it's all for free because California foots the bill since CAVA is a public charter school.
Everything is shipped to their home, their computer, all the science materials, science equipment, music, everything that they need.
But some parents are leery of even that much interaction with the state.
I would rather be under the covering of the Lord than being under the covering of a government, because the government always wants to control us more. They give me the free resources and then I give them control.
And Thomason advises parents homeschooling out on their own to just keep on, despite any rulings against them from California courts.
If homeschooling were somehow made illegal like in Germany, I'd still homeschool. Who cares? These are my kids.
Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from California.